as diffraction due to looking past the flat surface. They both apply, though, but it's two separate effects, actually. It can be a little bit confusing if you explain them as one, because there really are two separate effects. The limit because of size, apparent size, the angular size, and the diffraction looking past the flat surface. It's two separate things, really. Right?
A quick important point in all of this subject. Some of these guys in there, who knows, I'm just it's a 50-50 chance that he have never looked into a zooming camera and he hasn't looked at stuff in the distance, you know? Because once you start cracking up the zoom and seeing the distortion happening and the mirroring and the mirages and all the stuff going on, your mind started scramble trying to explain to yourself, and you have to be honest. You got to say, I mean, what is going on here? Because when you start looking and repeating in different, weather conditions, there's where the real test starts for you to try to discern what's going on in the distance, Yeah, I heard many people arguing about what's going on and it's curvature, but they never seen through a freaking zooming camera, bro.
We just had a couple of deniers on the panel earlier today, like yesterday. Loads of deniers.
Oh, Zinder, man. Gets a full explanation. Takes, I don't know, 20 minutes of back and forth arguing. And then at the end he says, well, what if the shoe's on the guy's head? He's just like, what an asshole.
I noticed one thing that needs to be clarified. Like, clearly, it's not about the vertical and height of the object, but it's actually about how close the object is to the surface. Like you can look at it like you can have a small stick or a tall stick and then a short stick, and the short stick disappears first, but at the same time a similar part of the longer stick disappears. So it's not about the actual size of the object, it's just about how close the object is. And that's also where the shoes come in, because they disappear if they are close to the surface, but if they are elevated, they won't disappear. So it has nothing to do with the size of the object, actually.
Right, is everything,
yeah, correct.
No, that's not correct.
It does matter, though.
It's absolutely everything to do with it. And what you're doing is backing up what I'm explaining. So you back away from something and the short stick disappears first. So you're all backing what I'm saying. That's how stuff disappears bottom up.
But if you elevate the short stick, it doesn't disappear. So that proves that what I said is correct.
Yeah, because if you raise it up, it increases the angle of view. So you've got a wider angle.
So it's about the angle of view and not the size of the object, right?
Yeah, so
then we can test that.
Let me answer.
We can then do that.
Let me answer. So
okay,
if you've got a shoe that's 20 centimeters high and you back away from that shoe and eventually it disappears, and then you put a shoe next to it that's 30 centimeters high, you'll see the top 10 centimeters of that shoe. So it's everything to do with the size of the shoe. The limited angle remains the same. In other words, at that distance, anything in that angle will vanish because it's too small to see. But if you've got a skyscraper that's 100 stories high, yeah, you might lose the first 20 centimeters of it, but you're going to see the rest of it because you've got an increased angle to it. This is how stuff...
Then if it's only about the angle, why won't things at the same angle above the surface disappear? Like you see things disappearing only close to the surface. Like, because so it clearly isn't about the angle.
Because that's where the angle is.
You can have the object at the same angle.
Can I answer? You're just going to carry on forever. You've asked your question. Why only at the surface? Because that's where the angle is the most limited.
That's incorrect. You can have
the
same
really? So when you're looking over a flat surface...
It's not incorrect. It's limited because of the plane you are looking across.
You're looking across a surface, and that surface and the position between you and what you're looking at creates the angle. If you get higher, that angle increases.
And if the object gets higher, it also increases.
Right. So if you've got a pair of clown shoes, and a clown wearing them, and you're far enough away for the shoes to disappear because they're in the most limited angle, it doesn't mean the clown disappears, only the shoes, i.e. that clown has disappeared from bottom up.
So you are confusing two different things here, clearly.
So simple. There's nothing confusing about it. Everybody understands it.
It's very similar to radar. If the radar are known to scan very, very far, like hundreds of miles, basically. And yeah, the ship on which that radar will be, if a person is standing right next to it, when they look, even with binoculars or whatever they're going to use, they're going to look at the horizon, see nothing. But if another ship is hundreds of miles away, then that radar will pick it up, because the radar is not limited by the viewing angle, because it's an optical effect.
So what actually is the viewing angle? Can you define it?
It's optics. It's
because
an
clearly
optical effect of light.
I know it's optical effect, but can you define it? That's not defining
Yes,
it.
yes, you can.
Viewing angle.
Airy's diffraction.
Angle of
If
view.
light moves past a flat surface, it will distort. It will bend in a way that will cause obstruction of the foreground of the surface. Of
But
the
why
things
are
in
we
light.
calling it? Why are we calling it an angle?
Because that's what
Because
it is.
that's what it is.
Your angle from your eyes to the object you are seeing.
What an unbelievable idiot. Why can't you get this?
But then,
flat plane.
it has nothing to do with the angle, because the angle is
These idiots. Complete idiots. Why is it called an angle when we're looking at something from a particular angle? What a complete retard.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Will, The Plain Truth, Laurie, Jose, Flat Earth Vegan Goy, Event Horizon, Earth Flattener, Chocolate Saiyan, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Boom.
Ew. Full house.
Hello, hello, hello.
hello.
So,
What up, Trav?
during the break, feel free to check out my second
Go on,
channel, Nathan
Travis.
Oakley, if you want to catch up with the conversation that's gone on during the break between the last show and this one. But we were at a point where we're trying to explain, and we seem to be getting somewhere, because we're getting concessions that if you back away from these shoes, eventually they're going to disappear. And there's an angle of view. Shout out to, is it Simulation Dweller? Thanks for hosting these shows. My pleasure. Thanks for the super chat. So we've got to the concession that things will disappear due to angular size, and we're struggling to get some of the globe Earth proponents to concede that when you look over a surface at something in the distance, you do have an angle to it. And the most limited angle is close to the surface, surprisingly. That's where we're at.
I think the misunderstanding that we're having comes from our understanding of angular size.
What? No. Angular size is not directly irrelevant. Angular size just makes things eventually disappear when they're too far away, no matter the surface you're looking at.
Okay.
Diffraction and the obstruction bottom up is purely due to looking past a flat surface.
Right. It's all about the viewing angle. Absolutely correct, Darwin.
So let me clarify. So we are talking about the same thing here. We are not talking about the angular size of the object, and we are not talking about the angle from the eye of the observer, but we are talking about the angle from the plane to the object, correct?
No,
angular
from the
size-
observer to the object past the plane.
It
The
does.
closer to the plane you're looking past, the higher the obstruction caused by diffraction.
Okay, so that's where my problem is, because if you then talk about the angle from the observer, then I would have to include objects that are above the observer. But if you go, like, to me, it's reasonable to start talking about the angle from the plane to the object. Then you can have a, like, relatively defensible position here.
Not really. That's not how the effect really works. It's really about the angle of view towards the object past the surface. Basically, yeah, if an object is at the same height as the observer and it goes far away into the distance, then despite being the same height, it also will become obstructed. Just like another viewer walking into the distance will eventually, due to diffraction, become obstructed. Doesn't really matter. It's all about looking past that surface.
Yeah. Angle of view.
So what is do any of you have a physical process to explain how this happens? I know that's
Yes.
a deep question, but
No,
is
it's
there
not.
some explanation?
Yes,
Yes.
diffraction.
Yes, so if you check
It
out a
describes-
video by myself and Zachary Zabala, otherwise known as Good Times for All, the video is called QED, or Flat Earth QED, Good Times for All, and he explains Airy's diffraction. So Airy's diffraction is the diffraction limit explained. So the diffraction limit is at your end, i.e. the camera, the lens, the eye, whatever it is that's being used. You have a diffraction limit based on the size of the aperture or the size of your pupil. That is the diffraction limit, how far you can see.
Oh, Nathan, by the way, it sounds kind of silly maybe, but how do you actually spell Aries? Because I tried to find it. Google wasn't very helpful in its suggestions. Could you spell it out?
I thought it was AIR, but maybe it's got a Y in it. I'll have to double check now you've asked.
Right, exactly. That's
I
my
don't wanna
problem
say it
as well.
wrong. Maybe the chat will help us out. Here we go. Yeah, it is AIR. AIREYS.
Oh, with a Y. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Is it the same guy who had the failure, Aries failure?
Although I've got another alternative spelling. ARSE. No, that's not right, CGI Ranty. God damn. Sorry, say that again. Event Horizon.
Is that Aries the same guy from the experiment Aries failure?
Yes, Astronomer Royale.
Okay. Excellent stuff. Yeah, these Globers, they deny Aries at all costs, don't they? They don't want to talk about Aries diffraction. They don't want to talk about Aries failure.
No. But he was the Astronomer Royale, so he's about as credible as it gets in that particular field.
Yeah,
if you're going to
absolutely,
accept that narrative.
absolutely.
I'm still having trouble finding it. When I search on these Aries, YS, it shows airy disk and a lot of diffraction. I just can't find. Maybe just Google doesn't like him or something. But
Well,
having
like I
a
say,
lot of trouble finding actual
absolutely
references.
That's absolutely true. So what was presented by Zach looked rough. You know, it scratted around to find the information. It wasn't like it was just came up on a Google search. So yeah, if you want to check it out,
I want to see some source material.
Yeah, that's what he's got.
Know
That's
who
what I'm
this
saying.
guy was.
Yeah, sure, but that's what he's got. So he's got source material for Aries diffraction in that video that Zachary. I've tried to get him on. I just keep meaning to get him back on and discuss this subject further. I discussed it with him a little bit further on TFR, not TFR, Iron Realm Media. But yeah, it's one of them. Zach's well acquainted with this, and there's been various different long Skype chats between me, him, and a few other people about this exact subject. But the material isn't that easy to find, unfortunately, Arwin.
It's so weird. There's something should be popping up, but it's not. It's almost like it's being censored or something.
Yeah, exactly that. It's not like the sort of thing that's taught at school, is it? How you see and areas diffraction. It's not really that well mentioned at all. It's only really until you get into flat Earth that you find about these things, because other people have dug deeper than you.
Right.
It's really interesting that these things aren't popping up instantly on the Google search when it's, a spelling mistake or whatever. Like you said, the Astronomer Royale, this is as credible as you can get, but it's shoved so far down the list.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well, it is suspicious, but to be honest, Aries diffraction, although I didn't really remember the name, but it was demonstrated to me, like in school at some point.
Really?
Just as a side note. Yeah, they showed, if you look past flat surface, then it's going to obstruct things. It was part of the optics that I did in school.
What were you saying, Chocolate?
I don't remember that at school, but then again, I don't remember too much.
Well, I had a very good school.
Sorry, Chocolate, were you trying to say something?
I was saying the reason that they disinclude that because that's part of the hustle. That's why they don't teach a lot of that in school.
It's not something
I don't remember hearing about that in school.
Right. It's not something that's in the primary curriculum. Right. But the teacher that I got did actually know about it, and I just asked him, and then he demonstrated it on the fly. It was not part of the curriculum.
I dropped a PDF in the chat for Arizona State on the subject.
Oh, cool! Right, I love that. Don't normally like opening the chat while it's
cool. Thanks.
Have a look. Let's have a look.
I wonder if any of the Globers will actually have a look at it though, or they're just going to deny it.
Considers the wave nature of light and like geometrical optics. Cool. Right, I'll copy this and stick it into the public chat feed. Help yourselves.
What is this? Oh yeah, Arizona education source. Right.
There you go. Grab that, people. People.
Oh, this is big. 43 pages. Shit. That's gonna take a while.
Don't ever get your hands on War and Peace.
Well, anyway, thanks. I'm gonna download this on my computer so I don't lose track. Thank you very much.
Nathan, are you still doing your piece on formological fallacies at some point?
Yes, I can't wait. I've been really keen to get that done.
I'm really interested in that. I listened to the yesterday's show late last night, and I'm really interested to the formological fallacies and the breakdown of each individual one.
Well, check out Steve HV. So a big plug to Steve. I love Steve's videos. He doesn't just deal with that, but at the moment he's just happened to be covering a lot of logical fallacies. He's moved on to other things as well. He started talking about the trivium the other day, which I was fascinated by. But that aside, he was talking specifically for, I don't know, the last 10, 15 videos even, specifically about logical fallacies. So Steve space H space V, Steve HV, is just, he sits with his phone and looks them up and reads them out, and Bob's your uncle. You can't ask for much more than that. It's great.
So when are you hoping to get this done? Because you've got another quantum eraser presentation this evening.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's tonight. I've said to John, look, if we can rattle through the flat Earth proof, because obviously that's far less important, we can go on to the logical fallacies. So he's like, well, maybe we'll do it next week. Maybe when I've got time again, we'll see how it goes, etc., etc. So it might just be flat Earth proof, and then the logical fallacies will be another time. But I really hope I can talk him into doing it tonight. So there'll just be a gap like with these shows, and then the next show will be, because I don't want it to be tagged onto the N Smigals. I want it to be on its own.
No.
I'm looking for the PDF, by the way, and I'm kind of surprised, though it doesn't really matter in the long run, but I'm kind of surprised that there are no sightings to any book sources at all. It's like they made it from scratch. Are there no published books about this effect? What's going on here? Why is this a standalone PDF? That's odd.
There you go. When you've got a little project for the next couple of days, you can go off and find out why that is. That'd be interesting.
This was Arwen's baby at first, you know, Event Horizon.
Was it really?
Yeah, before
The
before
optical
I got
slant,
it.
that's how it started.
Absolutely. So Arwen was the first to get it. And I do mean,
of course.
I don't mean the first. Obviously, there's loads of other people that got it long before Arwen. But as far as the panel is concerned, Arwen twigged first, and then I twigged and went back and listened to some of the shows where he was saying it. I was like, bloody hell, Arwen got this long before I did.
Thanks.
He just had his own term to it. I like it. Okay.
No, I just looked and started to geometrically figure out what I was seeing. That's how I came to that conclusion. And apparently there was something to that. So
Well done, man.
thanks.
But
Yeah, I had to.
I think
sorry.
maybe you should go away for a couple of days and look into that. See if you can find any more. See, what publications you can find. Maybe dig into some universities.
Yeah,
While
I
you
want to
surgery, that
just
sort of thing.
find some published books somewhere. I'm pretty astounded that a very thorough paper, because it is very thorough. I'm looking through it. It's very detailed, very good. There's no sources mentioned, and that is very surprising, because usually papers of this kind of quality are booked with at least 2 pages of sources, and they seem to be lacking for some reason.
It shows
Very
that this is.
surprising.
It shows these are class notes for a graduate level class, so that's all it is.
Right.
Okay, let me get a quick go in here. I was dusting off my drawers and I found my old Photoshop, very fancy Photoshop book, like the way I started drawing in a paper. So if you want to present my screen, let me see. Let me see what I'm getting right here. I was doodling a little bit, trying to figure out this angle of viewing angle of attack. And I'm going to do the orthographic view first. This is a 6-foot person looking across a long way. When you're looking at this 6-foot person, first of all, the angle, the eye's gonna want to see a big angle view and a big angle view to the bottom, right? But you're gonna get stuck up to here, right? So you're gonna see the whole person. The further you go, the angle is gonna narrow in here. It's gonna get a very, very small angle. Not far enough, but still, you're going to have a bigger viewing angle in the top because your eyes are going to look at the sky. But then you're going to get stuck down here. You're not going to see through the earth, the big angle, because you got the horizon line. Now you go further and further away, and you got the 6-foot person. You got the big angle in the top. Oops, you got blurred a little bit. And then you got a very, very small angle in the bottom. The further you go, the angle is barely going to be noticeable. So you're going to have some squatching and compressing down here. I tried to do it in a first-person view, but it's a little trickier because as you're standing on the ground, when you're looking ahead, you're going to see the horizon on your eyesight standing on the ground. I'm not claiming the horizon rises to your eye level at all. I'm just saying as you look across, you're going to see the horizon apparently in your line of sight. Now you're going to have the angle that you're going to see up to the sky. Even if you're looking forward, your peripheral vision in the top, you're going to see the top. But then the angle in the bottom is going to be almost straight ahead, line up. So I'm working on this. I mean, I just grabbed the pencil and paper. I don't have it too figured out yet. But I understand the narrowing angle as it's a smaller angle in the bottom, almost straight to your eyes, and you got a bigger angle in the top. You're going to see a lot more in the top than in the bottom,
Absolutely.
And then you got all this atmosphere right here that is going to block a lot of stuff in the bottom.
It's really good demo, but it's impossible to show in orthographic view, Jose, because as things get further away from you, from your first person view, they get closer to the horizon because they're reducing their size from your position. Apparent size is decreasing. As someone gets further away, you can see them getting smaller. Well, getting smaller literally means getting closer to the horizon. So therefore, the further away they get, the more limited your angle gets because of perspective.
Right. And diffraction, you can't basically demonstrate diffraction through any kind of model, autographic or anything. It is a specific light effect that you can't basically geometrically model out. You can't draw that. That's one of the problems with it. You can, however, with your demonstration, you clearly demonstrated how angular size works, because you can demonstrate how that works. But the diffraction effect, you can't demonstrate that using using a model. It's you can describe how it works, but it's just purely a light effect. Yeah, you can't model that out really.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit more difficult to conceptualize it. Yeah, but you can definitely demonstrate it practically. So that should be proof enough for anyone.
That was a good demo, Jose, because you're showing it's the surface you're looking across that's the problem. And again, if you in your first person view, you've got your horizon line, but the left and right's not an issue. You've got masses of angle left and right. Up's not an angle, you know, for those nice tall buildings and distant islands or land that you see. Well, they're no problem because they're nice and tall. Even at the horizon, a 2,000-foot mountain is still tall enough to be of an increased angle. But the bottom section, the bit that everyone claims is being obscured by Earth curve, it isn't. It's too small. The angle's too narrow. It disappears from bottom up as a consequence.
Yes, indeed. So it's easier to visualize if you understand the argument, but to put it out there in a model paper or something, a drawing, it's tricky. You just gotta go out and observe it by yourself. Grab a camera and go and look at stuff in the distance, pretty much, you know. Shit, did I kill the show? Go ahead, guys.
We're all deep in contemplation. Maybe I can say a little blessing. Radius Dominus, Gravitas Spiritus Sanctus Arwin. Power of R compels you. Go in peace.
Daniel,
Poignant for a Sunday.
Daniel in chat is trying to be a smartass, saying that, oh, see, light does bend. Well, light doesn't normally bend. It's only when actually moving past a surface that effects happen. So it's not universal bending of light. It's very conditional. Just to be clear, Daniel. It is not the light itself that just naturally bends. It is the surface that actually causes the bending.
What's going on with Will and Laurie, why they seem so confident, is because they're using this chat for the after show to rehabilitate themselves. They say baller stuff like, well, it's obvious gravity is real because the rest of the world believes that Nathan is just an idiot, but they don't actually get to prove it. They just keep rubbing each other's backs like that.
Argument ad populum.
It's Ballers Anonymous.
Narrative to hold.
It really is. It's really funny to hear them just say just nonsense, and they just try to pull themselves back into their reality, even though they never state facts.
Well,
it's the Ballers Anonymous. They have to go every day.
I was here for that. I was here for the whole angle discussion, but then you seem to clear up the confusion that you had between each other, so I didn't have to say anything. Right now I'm reading the original paper for the supposed alteration of the amount of astronomical aberration.
Cool. Any conclusions?
Well, I just started. I haven't reached the end yet.
Enough.
They was talking about the telescope and how they put a column of water inside and so on and so forth.
Yeah. The null result that Airy got, I don't know.
Well, it's his paper that I'm reading.
I actually never looked into Airy. I looked into Michelson-Morley, but Airy is something I haven't really looked into.
I think this is his.
His setup was far more basic than Michelson-Morley.
Like Michelson-Morley gets brought up in, like I've read quite a lot about relativity, and gets brought up all the time.
It's brought up in special relativity classes to talk about the ether and why it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think that's what Airy's failure is classed as, an ether drag test.
Yeah.
Yeah, my attitude towards things like this have changed over the years. I won't deny it. Same with gyroscopes. I get the logical conclusion that's drawn from them, but when it comes to ether rotation as opposed to Earth turn, it's like, well, it doesn't prove either. But, you know, you'll hear people argue the toss about it all day long. Oh, got vacuuming going on. While that's going on, I'll plug the show later. So at 6 p.m. UK time, Flat Earth proofs for myself and John. So be here or be sphere. Stick an advert up as soon as this show finishes.
Well, you don't understand, Nathan. Oh, sorry, I was just flashback on the old shows. On all the shows, pretty much, you get that. But you don't understand, Nathan. That's the easiest argument to counter your arguments.
Ad hominem, basically.
The body of science. Body of science, guys.
Science doesn't have a body. I'll have to get John to explain the reification fallacy when we do the fallacy show.
I don't know. I think the science does have a body, but it's kind of fat and bloated and unhealthy. It's obese.
It's got a really faded name tag.
It has way too many presuppositions.
It's laden down with R.
So it's very unhealthy.
Science doesn't have a body, but it has a mouth because science says, boom.
You're right.
I picture the body of science.
If you want a healthy body of science, then you gotta stop eating those presuppositions, guys.
It's clogging up the arteries.
Otherwise, you're gonna get fat and bloated and eventually just die.
Just wear them like gold chains with like R dangling down and R earrings, like gold teeth.
Before the ballers start wearing golden necklaces with R's.
You got it. What they worship, the presupposition of the R value.
I is really more important than R.
I, did you say? I didn't catch
They
that.
love
Say
their
again,
holy
Laurie.
Jesus.
You say I is more important than R.
Pi, you know, the constant.
Ildenius, you're really unclear. Your mic's so terrible. Say one more time. Sorry.
Pi.
Oh, pi. Yes, indeed. Yes. Very important number.
My excuse is for the bad mic.
Yeah, we all like pi.
Wow, it started on fire and now it's such a peaceful half of show, you know? Everybody's taking a breath and gathering ideas to start spewing the nonsense. Where the Glovers at?
Where's Anthony at? 5 minutes after he comes in.
Who cares?
Blazing row with
He was in the chat real quick. I don't know where he went.
Oh no, he's still on the chat. I just read him.
He may join us. You never know. You look. I know he's on the road at the moment, so.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe by mid-December, I hate doing it, but I might set up a little GoFundMe, at least to get like $20, $25 for gas for my little trip to Pontchartrain. I'm broke, and I'm gonna have to do such a big adjustment to make that trip happen. Even though it's not that much, I still need me like $250 to $300 to rent the camera and spend the night over there and for gas. So I might open it up. I might not get any money. I'm still going to do it. But if I get a little bit of something, I appreciate it, guys. I'll put all the observations I can for you.
Let me know. I'll promote the hell out of it. You know, if it's only a small amount of money.
Up a freight train, and then you can do that on your GoPro too.
So since
I didn't
this
get this.
has been so silent, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
What is your guys' relationship to the Bible? Like, are you Bible believers, or how do you see that?
Not religious.
The Bible's
Anybody
a
else?
straw man, as far as I'm concerned.
No.
My relation with the Bible. It's a book.
Might be easier to ask, does anybody on the panel have a... I know Travis will put his hand up, but anybody else other than Travis?
I used to be a Jehovah's Witness.
Get out.
I was. Then I started studying astrotheology, which actually is in the Bible, and then I started studying math and codes in the Bible. So I left the literal behind, but I wasn't a JW for very long. I only lasted about 6 months.
Did you convert anybody? Did you bring them to the Jehovah's Witness cult?
No, but it is kind of interesting that I went to a convention in San Francisco and Prince was there because he actually used to go door to door up in Minnesota.
You have to, don't you?
You're required to go door to door, or you'll basically you won't be considered a good Jehovah's Witness. You got to go out and annoy people at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, you know, when they're getting rid of a hangover. And did you know that God has a name?
Yeah, got to go out and spread the lie.
Nah.
Anybody else? Anybody else religious? Travis, I know you're religious.
I
I'm not-
follow the
no.
path of Christ in that sense, but no, I don't adhere to anybody else's interpretation of religious scripture. I take my own and I listen to my intuition.
Religion comes from authority, as far as I'm concerned. And if they're lying to us about the shape of the earth, they're lying to us about spirituality as well. It's all combined. So I don't believe in any church or biblical God, as I refer to him as a straw man, because as soon as you start bringing up the Bible with the flat earth, yeah, there's too many things involved. You could start pulling everything apart just from the biblical point of view. So it becomes silly to a lot of people. It's, you know, it's religious, it's fundamentalist, it's crazy. You're putting your God before science and you don't understand that it is a religious belief.
Well,
So
there
when people
is
bring that
a
up, I just know
there
it's
is
straw
a
man.
Christian
It's the
allergy.
biggest straw man going.
Sorry.
Hey, Sleeping Warrior and Orthodox, good to have you both.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. But Christianity,
hold on.
I have no
Hold on,
problem
hold on,
with it,
hold
but
on,
there
hold
is
on,
a
hold
lot
on,
of
hold on.
Christian allergy.
Hold on. Hey, Jacob, can you hear us? No, maybe not.
So my take on the Christianity, I'd rather shout out to the Dodo and Aristarchus instead of talking about Bible and Christianity. Shout out to the Dodo and Aristarchus. Boom.
But this was now we've got all the opinions of the panel. Sorry, Anthony. It was actually, I'm sure there was a point attached to it. So, Laurie, do you want to pick back up?
No, I was just, at least it wasn't a straw man on my part. It was just an honest question because I'm trying to like parse out the relationship. I'm actually Pentecostal myself. So that's where I come from. And I see that there is flat earth cosmology in the Bible, but I don't see that as a big problem as a globe earth.
How can you be Pentecostal when you're so rude?
Well, this discussion makes everyone rude.
It does.
Pentecostals
He's a
happy
person.
clappy.
People are rude. It doesn't matter where you come from. He's just a person, isn't he?
Anthony's
I know,
got a
but you never
Pentecostal
come across a
background,
happy
don't you?
clapper that's rude like him.
You're from a Pentecostal background, aren't you, Anthony?
Yeah, and so are you.
Shut up.
We're all wankers.
Gotcha. I'm not actually, by the way.
Hallelujah. Praise
I come
the
from
Lord.
a very liberalist family. So yeah, I turned to the path of Christ all by my own volition.
Christ, really?
Yes.
You don't strike me as a religious guy.
Well, I'll strike you any way I can.
With your wand.
His wand has been snapped in half, though. It's Einsteinian now.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's
Come
just
on.
as much as just so story, scientism, interpretation, declaration.
Arwen's on
Yeah,
our
but
side in that
you-
regard, Anthony. You can't poke him with that stick because he knows Einsteinian, Newtonian. It's all bollocks. Doesn't matter which.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Well-
it's a ghost story. It's just a
Well,
just.
I'll take it one step further and say that Newtonian gravity as is being now science historically portrayed is simply not how he truly intended it. As by his own words, he never claimed to have any actual proof himself, like you so magnificently noted yesterday. Nathan was very happy about that. So
Yeah, Nathan,
I
where
think
did you
that
get
man's heritage has been abused by heliocentrists.
Nathan, where
after
did you
his
get that
death.
citation from?
Say again.
Ask Nathan.
Nathan, where did you get that citation from? From the Newtonian phrase? Where did it come from?
Which one?
You know the I can't remember. What's it called?
Newton not wanting to
I
hypothesize about gravity or something like that.
I make no theory about gravitation. It's from the Principia.
The Prince. Yeah, but where did you get it from? How did you hear about it?
I don't know. I've no idea.
Come on, you must have heard somewhere.
Well, you and I were talking about it recently, so that's how it recently came up. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I think I I heard it from. I can't remember the guy's name now. I've had a proper brain meltdown.
Oh, that's where it came up recently. It's the guy who was showing the golf ball on the end of the stream of air.
Julius Sumner something.
Yes, he quoted it.
Yeah, Julius Sumner, somebody or other. Interesting guy. Lots and lots of experimental videos that are really interesting. Stuff.
The most interesting thing was the reaction from the flat earthers. Well, he looks like a mad scientist, so you know.
And not just looked, he also sounded like one. So.
He does. But typically,
and he made a lot of very weird conclusions in between some pretty good conclusions. So
yeah, but
I wouldn't cite him as a source, personally.
Absolutely, he's a doctor. Why would you not consider that? Even though he looks a bit crazy.
Doctor, ooh, wow.
Even though he looks a bit crazy, didn't Einstein look equally as bad?
No.
Come on.
No.
Einstein was terrible. He was the scruffiest, most eccentric guy I've ever seen.
Yeah, but he talked a lot better than that, as far as I know.
I think that Julius Sumner, whatever his name is a really interesting guy. He's dead now, though.
Right. Okay. Anyway, I liked that Nathan brought that up because that is my view on Newton. He has been thoroughly abused after his death, and all of his heritage has been misconstrued and taken out of proportion to fuel the heliocentric religion. And he would have never agreed to that, and he didn't agree to that, especially being a very devout Christian. So
always going to die.
Yeah, it's a very sad story. Because
I've heard that Newton was a bit of a dick.
Really?
Yeah.
From
I've
who?
heard that.
To
well, a story about him living in his mother's apartment up until his mother died, and when she came in to give him breakfast, he threw his shoes at her.
Right. Okay. Well, I lived with my mother until she died, and I occasionally got very pissed off at her. I never throw my shoes at her, but that doesn't really say anything.
He burned the
Anyone can be a little bit of a dick every now and then, you know.
He made sure that no one knew what Robert Hooke looks like.
Sorry?
He made sure that no one knows how Robert Hooke looks like.
Who's that?
A person they were in a bit of a feud on who came up with the formula for gravity.
Right. Oh well, the competition, you know, if he really was a scientist and was probably getting paid for it, then you're gonna be very competitive towards others that are competing in your field. It's only natural.
Yeah, but waiting until he dies and then burning his last oil painting.
He did that? Seriously?
Yeah,
I was going to say, this is
a bit far, I think.
I didn't know that.
That is kind of spiteful, if that is true.
Well,
give
I
us a bit
think
more
if you
detail.
just search for Newton and Robert Hooke, there should be stories about it.
Can you fill us in? This is new to me. I didn't know any of this.
Well, maybe he was doing us a favor. Maybe that guy was just so ugly it was painful to look at.
On the other hand, though, if Anthony would ever to die, I would love to burn his oil painting. Just kidding.
I want to leave a message for somebody in chat. Just bear with me while I find the message. I accidentally flicked off it just as I started speaking, and now I can't bloody find it. Give me a minute. I'll come back to you.
Anyway.
Why? Danks in the audience says, kick unorthodox. I'm like, why? What's he done? He
Insane.
hasn't done anything.
Yeah, Jose kicked me yesterday when I started making a little too much sense.
Oh, did you get kicked?
Keep telling yourself that.
I thought someone said that you'd run out of battery, and I was like, okay, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, no, that was a few days ago.
That was a few days
Unorthodox. It was, I think, Nathan. He was talking to one of the guys. It was a one-on-one, and you kept interrupting, and you kept rumpusing, and then, I mean, you diverging. So I said, you know what, we gotta stop this, and I got thank yous for many people in the chat when I did that. Sorry about that. But if we control ourselves, we don't have to go nowhere.
Oh
you know?
no,
we can
I'm sure.
stay.
I'm sure you got a lot of thank yous in the chat for kicking me when I started making sense. Yeah, another thing I like to point out is whenever I left the other day, you're like, oh, I'd like to point out, you know, this is the example of ballers. But whenever Nathan goes a little nutty, that's cool.
Yeah.
And I don't even get anywhere close.
Yeah, because you know why? Because it's his show.
Exactly. I get to do it. It's a case
his
of
behavior is judged differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a
He's
case
the
of
showkeeper.
that's total
It's his
bollocks.
show. He can do anything he wants.
do as I
He's
say. not as I
technically a
do.
dictator.
He can't do anything he
Yeah.
wants. I'm saying you shouldn't judge his behavior differently because it's his show. If
I
he does
don't.
one thing,
I'm just saying
if
how
I
it's
do
working.
something-
Oh no, that's not
What?
true. People will still judge me exactly the same, regardless of the fact that I can or can't do it. People will still judge me equally. Believe me.
That's not what Jose's saying.
Well,
You know,
I think he's talking exclusively about the panel. Whereas, believe me, I get judged. Don't you fear.
I tried kicking Nathan the other day just for the hell of trolling, but I can't. He's not snipeable. Sorry.
No, I'm not. No, I'm stuck here.
That means that I've got a valid claim as being the only person to successfully have kicked Nathan.
Not out of this show, lad. Out of your own show. I only found
No,
this
it
out
was
the other
Ranty,
day.
wasn't
Someone was
it?
like, were you upset that Anthony kicked you? I was like, did he? Really?
I can't remember exactly why it was, but it was right at the very end and we were wrapping up anyway. And I just said, should I kick Nathan for the fun of it? And Ranty said, yeah. So I kicked you out for no reason. I think you'd gone anyway. I think your thing had kicked you off. But anyway, message for Colorado Forest Beings. Rumpus said a message to you that says, I understand so much science you wouldn't believe. You don't understand science that a 14-year-old would be expected to know. So, Colorado, just ask him, why was it? Did he put in 2 extra values into the neutral buoyancy equation that he presented? One of them was volume and the other one was little g for gravity when they don't exist in the actual definition. So just ask him, why did he do that? Carry on.
Actual definition? Really? Which actual definition is that?
It was the one where we showed the neutral buoyancy definition that said that the average density of the product is equal to the density of the medium in which it's in.
All right. So the specific neutral buoyancy effect, not the general formula for density and buoyancy, how that applies, right?
No. Are we?
No.
Definition for neutral buoyancy.
Yeah, but
Why?
neutral buoyancy is very specific.
I'm not even attacking you here. I'm attacking Rumpus. What's your problem, man?
Because you're touching my field right there.
I'm not touching anything.
Yeah, you are. You're making a statement that the little g and all that's not in there. It is in there. It's just not in the neutral buoyancy formula. That's a separate case.
What's the point
added
made?
2 fields that were not part of the definition. That's dishonest.
Was he talking about neutral buoyancy, or was he just talking about density and buoyancy, the generalized?
We were talking about neutral buoyancy. We were talking about neutral buoyancy at the time when we had the definition on screen, and he added 2 values that were not in the definition. And math is supposed to be a representation of reality, but the reality that's described on screen didn't match his maths that he presented. And that little g value, he had to sneak it in somewhere, but the definition didn't include it. So Rumpus doesn't really know what he claims. He just batters you with nonsense to make you think that he does.
All right. Well, you're correct about the neutral buoyancy. It's not in there. That's correct.
Calm down, man. I wasn't having to go at you at this one occasion.
Yeah, well, it's not mutual.
He was trying to show you guys what I was saying. I think it was the day before that neutral buoyancy, negative buoyancy, positive buoyancy all were given birth out of Newtonian physics. That's what Rumpus was trying to show you guys.
Yeah. Just like to remind you that in generalized physics, gravity and buoyancy are the opposing forces. That's how they are officially declared.
No, that's
now,
not.
as to a cause, that's something else.
Density and buoyancy are we, not gravity and buoyancy.
I know. I'm just talking about how it's actually used in physics overall.
Which law? Orthodox. Which law?
It's only used like that in maths, Arwin,
Hold on.
not in physics.
No physics. Not in
No, maths only.
Hold
It's how
on,
physicists use it.
No, they don't. Only maths.
Guys, please. Unorthodox. You said it's part of Newton's laws. Which law?
No, I didn't say it was part of Newton's laws. I said Newton's laws are used to define it.
That's correct.
So
which
you
law?
guys are taking.
Well, hold on.
You guys are,
that's what I said. Yes, that's correct. So which one? Which of Newton's laws? Laws of nature.
Take your time, Unorthodox. No rush.
Oh, I'm sorry. I accidentally pushed mute. Buoyancy came out of Newton's general work. I'm not talking about anything specific. The idea of buoyancy and the opposing force to gravity due to the air pressure or a fluid body came
Sorry,
out of
I asked
Newton,
you which
and
law was
it's defined from
applicable.
Newton's
Now you're
equation.
just giving us a generalized explanation from your own words. So,
You guys
do
act- you
you
guys
know
act like
which law
came up with
covers
something
this?
like new with
It's all right. We've been
You're
waiting
just
for a
basically
while.
taking Newtonian physics.
Yeah,
and
which
trying to make
law?
it your own.
My question's which law. If you don't know, just say I don't know.
I said I didn't say it was a specific law. His general work. It came out of his.
Oh,
general
so
work.
Newton generally... No. Newton said, I offer no hypothesis for gravitation. So generally, Newton thinks it's bollocks. So unless you can direct me to a law which covers it, we
No,
know
just
which
because
one.
he
We've
didn't
been
offer
waiting
a
for some...
hypothesis for
Shut
gravity,
up.
because he
We've
probably
been
didn't
waiting
know
for
how to
some
prove it
muppet
himself.
like you to walk into this bear trap. Now, either you do know which law covers it, in which case we can have some fun with you, or you don't, in which case you just need to say, no, I don't.
I'll repeat it again. His general work. It came out of his general work, Nathan.
His general
Not
work,
one
right. Generally
specific
speaking, quote from
seven
Newton, I make
variable
no
equation or
hypothesis for
three-variable
gravitation.
equation. It wasn't
That's his
specifically
actual
from
words
one
on gravity. Those are his
Just ask me
actual
something,
words.
and I
Listen,
started talking,
let's
and you-
shut him up. Newton said, quote, I make no hypothesis for gravitation. So generally, he's actually saying it, dickhead. He's saying I make no hypothesis. Now, you mentioned the word law.
So you're telling me he came up with
I
gravity?
don't want to debate this asshole.
came up
If
with
you don't want to
gravity, but he didn't believe in gravity.
listen. I can't be asked with
Is that
20
what you're
minutes of
telling me?
you stepping around the bear trap. If you don't know which law, fine. You haven't walked into the bear trap because you don't think you know what you know. You just don't know. That's fine. You haven't fallen into a bear trap because of your ignorance. That's
So
fine.
you're telling me Newton didn't believe in gravity, even though he came up
Quote, I make no hypothesis for gravitation. End quote.
So that's what you're trying to tell me.
So he makes no hypothesis for it, Dick Brain. That's what he actually said.
So he didn't have a hypothesis.
So generally
because he didn't
speaking,
have the tools to test for it.
he
So
says he
what?
makes no hypothesis. So his general
So he
work
didn't
doesn't
have the
cover
tools
it.
to test
Okay,
for it properly,
idiot.
Nathan.
Generally
So what?
speaking,
He didn't
he makes
have
it
the
clear.
tools to
He
test
makes
for
no
it properly.
hypothesis, right? He's not doing it with the scientific method. He makes no hypothesis. Now, if there's a law that covers it, and we know there is, but you don't want to step in this bear trap, or you're just ignorant, one or the other.
Well, he used mathematics to prove it,
Oh,
right?
shut up. This isn't a maths forum.
You
Go to a
can't
maths
use
forum.
mathematics to prove anything.
You can't use mathematics. You guys say almost.
This is
You
a
can't
maths
use
forum.
mathematics to prove
It's
anything.
not a
You
maths
can only
forum.
use scientific
Not
proof
interested.
to prove
He is
something.
literally 1% hangout.
Yeah, gonna get kicked soon, unorthodox. You've stepped
You
away
guys
from the
won't
bear
let me
trap
speak. You
through
asked
your
me a couple
ignorance. It's
questions, and I
okay.
started talking, you
It's
immediately started talking
okay.
over me.
You don't know Newton's laws well enough. It's okay. Step away from the bear trap.
When we talk about the fact that you contradict yourself on the daily, you
Yeah, yeah.
said mathematics
Yeah,
can be
yeah,
used
yeah.
as a part
Yeah,
of
yeah.
science,
Yeah.
right? Isn't a part of science, yet your definition of science includes mathematics.
Yeah.
That's a little odd.
Yeah.
Can I get a consensus
Yeah.
in there that your definition of science includes mathematics?
Yeah.
So anytime Nathan says on the show mathematics isn't a part of science, remind him that his
Science and mathematics are not the same thing. Mathematics is mathematics. Science is science. If you're establishing cause and effect through systematic experimentation, then you're doing science. If you're doing formulas, then you're doing maths.
Unorthodox, did you and Pete, are you in the same lodge by any chance?
Do what?
Are you and Pete in the same lodge by any chance?
I don't know.
They are in the same lodge as your parents.
I'm just using Nathan's tactics against him.
I also noticed yesterday that Nathan said science doesn't need logic. That, to me, was a very weird statement.
Oh, really? Well, while the science... No, don't rumpus the shit out of me the second you make an allegation. While the scientific method was derived through logical means, its conclusions do not require logic. Is that clear? If it's not, I'll repeat it. Was that clear?
Not really.
I'll repeat it then. While the system, the method, was derived through logic, its conclusions do not require logic. It is empirical. The methodology may have come from philosophy, but that doesn't mean it's not empirical. The results don't require logic. This is a bit like the straw man when you say, oh, we can't use man-made stuff in it. Yeah, you can. But the phenomena can't be man-made. This is similar. So yes, logic is involved. Logic was involved to derive the method to come to conclusions that don't require logic. They're empirical. Okay?
Wait. You just said you can use man-made devices. So
here we go. So some arsehole comes along, strawmans the shit out of me, claiming that I've said you don't need logic, and then claiming that that's part of the actual formulation of the methodology, which is something totally different, a shitty straw man. And because I compare it to a different straw man these assholes use, which would be the man-made devices straw man, suddenly we're talking about that, are we? No.
Yeah,
logic derived the method. Logic derived the method. It does not derive the results. I don't care if you want to rumpus it. Yeah, your straw man failed.
So you do believe in the Foucault pendulum?
Come on, dude. Come on.
It's a man-made device with a natural phenomenon.
Sorry, what are you talking about, Laurie? Triggered?
Sorry, you're completely mind-farting.
Hold on. What do you mean triggered, Laurie? Why would you type such a thing? Do you mean?
Well, because you were.
Because you get triggered, Nathan.
No. What that was a dismantlement of your strawman argument.
My argument wasn't actually a strawman. Yeah, my argument might have been picking things out of a context because you actually said...
Oh, what, like a straw man would do? That's precisely a straw man. So I say it's a straw man, and then you say, oh, my words might have taken a few things out of context. What, like a straw man? Yeah, dickhead. That's what I said. Your straw man failed. Now shut your stupid mouth. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off by telling me how triggered I am when you're an asshole who's using straw men. Yeah, that pisses me off. Don't use straw man arguments or you'll have me jumping all over you. It's not me triggered. It's me ripping your straw man apart.
Look, Laurie, nobody said that the scientific method doesn't require logic. But logic alone is not a foundation for proof, just as math can be used to basically create a foundational structure to basically show you how it's supposed to work. But it in itself is not a foundation for proof. It's only an assistant, a tool to aid, to clarify. It's not proof by itself. It's a tool.
I would really like to get a concession from Nathan that his definition of the scientific method includes mathematics. Nathan,
no.
Sorry.
Can I get a concession?
You're not going to get...
let's just say it again for the asshole on the panel. Science establishes cause and effect through systematic experimentation based on observed phenomena. Nowhere in that description was a mathematical formula used.
Independent, dependent variable are mathematical terms.
Yeah, we took this apart, asshole. Yes, they're mathematical terms.
Jose,
What about you do a search, asshole, right now, for a scientific variable and see what you get.
I'm just talking the general.
I'm just talking about the mathematical ones because I want maths to be reality. Yeah, asshole, we get it. Maths is not science. We went through this earlier.
No, it's an integral
Sod
part of
off
science.
to a maths forum if you want to talk
Nathan,
about
it's
maths.
in your definition.
My definition. Science is a study of the natural world. The way it studies the phenomena observed in the natural world is through systematic experimentation, establishing cause and effect through systematic experimentation. Experimentation being hypothesis. Hypothesis being scientific predictions. You test your scientific predictions by varying and manipulating your independent variable. Now, at no point in that description did I describe anything mathematical. I described manipulation of an independent variable. I described naturally occurring phenomena. I described systematic experimentation. I did not detail any equations.
That's funny. I looked up.
So I'm not going to concede that my description of science includes maths, asshole. No, I'm not going to concede that, which is what you asked for. No, because it doesn't. My description does not include maths. My description includes manipulation of scientific variables, not mathematical ones like you want them to be.
No, I just looked up the general definition.
Yeah, but generally, well, we're not talking generally. We're talking scientifically, asshole. Yeah, generally, you can include mathematics in an independent variable, but we're talking about scientific variables, not mathematical ones, asshole. So generally, no, we're not talking generally. We're talking scientifically, not generally.
Those terms are straight out of mathematics, Nathan.
Yeah, generally speaking, those terms can mean a lot of different things. I couldn't give a shit. We're talking scientifically, so we're going to use the scientific terms. Okay, asshole?
Like in physics, like F equals ma.
Oh, right.
In physics,
Mass.
F equals ma.
Oh, right. Mass, this thing with multiple different definitions of it. Yeah, okay, asshole. Whatever. That's maths.
So you believe in buoyancy,
That's
right,
maths.
Nathan? There's an equation
That's maths.
that
Yeah, that's
goes
maths.
with buoyancy.
That's maths.
That's math.
Yeah, maths. So if you want to show me a cause and effect relationship being attained, i.e. done through systematic experimentation, in other words, if you want to science the shit out of your assertion that we have gravity, be my guest. You want to show me maths and say F equals ma, that's maths. Doesn't prove anything, asshole. We're doing science here. Don't rumpus me. We're doing science here, not mathematics.
You can't be serious, Nathan.
Yes, we're doing science. If you want to do maths, bugger off to a bloody maths forum. How many times?
So you believe? So you're telling me buoyancy is science, okay? But the equation that defines buoyancy.
The equation is maths. Yeah, the equation is not systematic experimentation. Yeah, it's not based on a hypothesis. It's not based on a scientific prediction. It's not science. When you say F equals ma, that's maths, dickhead. Why are you laughing? We're trying to observe the natural world. This is a debate about the world, the Earth. That's what we're very much talking about. And you know what category that falls into? Not maths, science.
Yeah, and your definition of science includes mathematics.
No,
it doesn't. God, you asshole. How many times have I got to do it? A systematic experimentation. No maths. No maths included in that description. A study of the natural world. No maths included. Manipulation of an independent variable. No maths. It's a physical manipulation of something. No maths.
Show me any definition of independent or dependent variable that doesn't include some kind of mathematics.
Yeah, type in, I've asked you already. Type scientific variable and see what comes up.
I did yesterday.
No, you typed in independent variable, you lying sack of shit.
You can't be serious.
Excuse me, are you going to concede that you've just lied? That is not what
mathematics is something different.
Arwin, that's not what you... Hold on, Arwin. Oh, he's just lied, so Arwin's going to jump in and save the day. You just lied.
No, I'm not going to save him.
Well, shut up then, or I'll kick you out, Arwin. I'm sick of it. He's just lied. I want to hold his toes to the fire. Please let me do so.
Right.
You just lied. You did not type in scientific variable yesterday, did you?
I wasn't talking about on the show, Nathan. I was
you lied.
talking about it in my spare time.
You lied. You did not
No, I didn't
type
lie.
that
I
in.
wasn't talking about on the show, Nathan. Oh, that's funny. I look up scientific independent and dependent variables. You know what? The first thing I see is a graph describing a mathematical equation.
So why aren't you presenting that now?
Type in Google. Do it. Do a screen share.
Do
and
it
we'll
now.
type scientific
Do it.
independent
Present it like you
variables
presented it
into
yesterday.
Google, and we'll see what we come
Sorry,
up with.
why are you lying? Yesterday
Prove
you
it.
did not type in scientific variable.
That's not what I said, Nathan.
You said I did it yesterday.
Why are you lying?
So, you're going to show us it or what?
I'm on mobile. I don't think I'm on
Oh,
iPad.
right.
I'll show it.
So when you had your misrepresentative variable on screen, that was easy, but now it's mobile. Bummer.
Go to Google. Go to the main page of Google.
Don't tell me what to do, asshole. If you want to make an assertion, come here with the equipment to do it. Don't come here with your maths telling us that maths is science. It's not.
Screen share on.
I am screen sharing, and you're wrong, Unorthodox.
Here we go.
Scientific independent variable. There's no maths here.
Click on
There's
it.
no
Click on
graphs
that
here.
first link, Nate. Click on that first link. Click on the page.
I'm presenting. So
Click on
you're
the
just
very
wrong.
first link.
It's not. It doesn't say mathematics, asshole.
Click on the first link.
It doesn't say it, asshole.
No, at the top. Difference between independent and
Yeah,
dependent
I've
variables.
just read it.
At the very top.
This?
Yes.
From thoughtsco.com?
That's the first one. I'm just saying.
Right,
Go to the
okay,
first one.
thoughtsco.com. Ooh, a graph.
There's a graph describing a mathematical equation. What do you know?
Really? It's just a graph. Speed versus time, that's all.
If it's a graph, it's a mathematical equation.
Two main variable to change controlled scientific experiment test to independent variable. You know, I see a graph here, but I don't actually see the word math in the description.
There's an entire field called graph theory.
Yeah, but the funny
It's a
thing is,
graph,
it's
it's
not in the definition. It's just an added graph.
Scroll
It's
down,
not
Arwin.
actually
Let's
in the definition.
just see what it says. Do you want to read some of this, Arwin? Let's just see if you can tolerate it long enough without interrupting you. Maybe read what it says about independent and dependent variable example. Just read it. See what it says.
Okay, what is the title? What is the difference between independent and dependent variables? A graph. Goody. It's just a picture. Then, at the start, the two main variables in an experiment are the independent and the dependent variable. An independent variable is the variable that is changed or controlled in a scientific experiment to test the effects of the dependent variable. A dependent variable is the variable being tested and measured in a scientific experiment. The dependent variable is dependent on the independent variable. As the experimenter changes the independent variable, the effects on the dependent variable is observed and recorded. Now, did you hear me say the word math?
Didn't hear it, Arwin. Didn't hear it once.
Right.
No.
I can keep on reading. I
Go
don't
ahead, keep
see
on
the
reading.
word math here anywhere. I
let's
see the
just
word moth.
Go
hold
ahead,
on, Arwin.
go ahead. Go to the next one.
His rebuttal was no. That was his rebuttal.
I don't see the word math. I see the word moth here. But
So, let's turn the tables. You said on multiple occasions, despite the fact that I reiterated my explanation every single time, that my explanation of what science is includes mathematics. I said, oh, shut up. On 3 occasions or more, I said, no, my definition does not include mathematics. I gave it, and then you made the same example again. Now, I said when you gave your definition, when you lied and said, I typed in scientific variable.
I wasn't talking about...
Yeah, shut up. So you didn't type in scientific variable, you typed in independent variable, and then got the term for the mathematical description outside of the scientific explanation of a variable, which is far more complicated in science than it is in maths. Nevertheless, you've still continued to claim it. Arwin's brought it up having done exactly as you suggested, which is just do a Google search on those exact words, which he did, and it did not include any terms that would imply that you require mathematics. So, Will, shut up, shut up. This is the crescendo, asshole. You don't have to like it. So, will you concede, asshole? Oh, are you just going to get kicked out rather than concede? What a pussy. What an absolute coward. What an absolute coward you are, unorthodox.
Are you gonna tell
You
me
won't
they
even
didn't
let me
show
get to
a
the end of my
mathematical graph?
sentence when it comes to the point, will you, you
That
asshole?
wasn't a chart
What
of
a coward.
mathematical equation?
What an absolute coward. You're going to be a Batman and let me
Be
finish?
joking.
So, like you asked multiple times, will you
Can I
now
do a concession?
concede, asshole, that the definition of science does not require mathematics, as you have asserted?
Your definition does.
Sorry, no. It's just been given to you by me without reading anything at least 3 times. Then Arwen's gone and got it from Google like you suggested, and it didn't back your claim. In fact, quite the
did back my
reverse.
claim, Nathan.
It backed my claim.
Absolutely
Now, having been
backed my
asked
claim.
by you multiple times to concede that my description does include mathematics, and we've...
It does.
Oh, right. I'm just going to kick you out then. Because you're just an asshole. You've been proven completely incorrect. You're just an asshole. So sod off. You're a liar and an asshole. Hey, Tim.
Howdy.
Good to have
How you doing, buddy?
Very well. How are you?
Good. So as you continue to do this, and I talked about it last night, you conflate what science is so then with the scientific method. So you do understand that science, study of the natural world, isn't the scientific method, right?
Yeah,
What?
science is a study of the physical and natural world. The methodology is science. That is the scientific method. Yes.
Is that the only methodology in science?
You can use whatever
strictly
you
scientific
like,
method?
but the scientific method is what Arwen just read out. Testing, independent and dependent variables, cause and effect. That's science, Tim.
There's other cultural interpretations of the word to overgeneralize regions of occupation, as it were. But the scientific method, that's pretty solid. There are not a lot of variations on that, really.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live panel for making this debate possible. If you hated the show, you know exactly what to do. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!